So this is Scott Hartman, my co-host. Scott is the director of convention planning. Nope, director of event planning, which makes him the director of convention planning for Mennonite Church USA. He plans more events than just convention. And Scott and I are both joining you from the Elkhart, Indiana area. I'm in Elkhart, Scott's in Wakarusa. Unless you're at the office, I don't even know where you are.
Nope, I'm at home.
At home in Wakarusa. So what else do you want to say about who you are?
I don't know. I love convention. For those of you who don't know me, I've been doing this for 20 some odd years and I love convention. Otherwise I wouldn't do it because it's a stressful, crazy mess. But that's a little bit of my style of operating. So yes, planning a stressful, crazy convention fits me. So yeah. And if you ever see me around, if you ever need anything, please reach out. Don't feel like you should not ask me questions. I love talking about convention and helping. Worked as a youth sponsor for years, so love working with youth as well.
Yes, if you reach out to Scott with a question, he will cheerfully find the answer for you while you're at convention or before. So, and I am Shanna Peachy Bushhart. I am the denominational minister for Faith Formation. So my main work is nurturing a network of faith formation leaders in Mennonite Church USA, and do that through our website, our faith formation page on our website, and a newsletter. So if you don't get my newsletter, you can find that at MennoniteUSA.org/FF. And what else? Oh, so as part of my role as faith formation minister, I help plan convention, especially the biggest part that I have responsibility for is seminars. But then I also am involved in the worship planning and other pieces, including Step Up. So that's who we are. Shanna and Scott. Caleb Gingrich is here to do our tech this evening from our communications team. He joins us from Newton, Kansas. No, Wichita, Kansas. So glad to have Caleb helping and making sure everything runs smoothly for us. Seeing some more faces, and I think we'll go ahead and kind of jump into our content. We're going to start by sharing with you some of the sort of the big picture of like what we have planned for virtual conventions. So Scott's going to start off with that.
Yeah, so this is, most of you probably know, this is our first endeavor into a hybrid type of event. And yeah, has been interesting trying to figure out what makes sense from that perspective as we try and replicate a little bit of what we have had in person in a hybrid setting. We are going to be using Feedloop, PHEEDLOOP, is the virtual platform that we will use. So everybody who registers for the virtual event will get a login to the Feedloop program, and I am actually going to share my screen. You all are getting the first sneak peek at the lobby of Feedloop. I've been bad, and I hadn't even shared it with Shanna, so Shanna saw it like 15 minutes ago, and so yeah, I just wanted to talk a little bit about like the actual functionality of this platform. It's a nice and easy, I looked at all kinds of different platforms and some of them looked very intimidating. This one has a very comfortable feel and look to it. The navigation options are all on the left side of the screen. Again, so registrants can load a picture into their profile if they want to. If they don't want to, they don't have to. The interesting thing is this platform is constantly adding new features. And so just last week, at the end of the week, I discovered they have a photo booth to where I can now take a random photo of myself to post here in this feed saying, hey, I'm excited to be here, or yeah, whatever. The main functions that people will be looking at will be our sessions and our exhibit hall and speakers to an extent, but sessions will be where all of our seminars and worship services and all of our content will be housed under sessions. There's nothing in there, so yeah. The nice thing is this left-hand navigation will stay the same no matter what screen you're in. So if you need to come back to the lobby, it's a quick click back here to the lobby. The session will, like in this area right here under the photo booth, it will actually then show a schedule of everything as we have them scheduled, whether it's worship and then seminar and multiple seminars and then worship again. Those will all be listed here. There are several different views the system allows you to do, whether it's a linear approach or a grid approach. The exhibit hall is, we actually have, I was going to add up. I think we're between 15 and 20 different exhibitors that will have exhibit spaces set up. Again, it's the system is nice and easy to use. When you click on exhibit hall, in this area again here under the launch photo booth, you will see a list of the exhibitors. And it's really nice. The system allows us to randomize them. So each time we come back in, they will be in a different order. So it's not always alphabetical order. Yeah, so everybody can see what the exhibitor, who the exhibitors are. In this middle section, exhibitors will have the opportunity to post a welcome video, contact information, social media connections, resources, and they will, I need to move my picture thing. On the right-hand side, I kind of forgot to mention this, is a chat feature that is specific to the section of the program you're in. So in the public lobby, this is an ongoing chat feature where things will stay. We will obviously have somebody kind of watching over that. If somebody makes inappropriate comments, yeah, we can delete them and make sure, yeah, we are respectful to each other. And then when you go into a specific section or session, when you click on worship, the chat over here actually changes to chat specifically with that worship session. So the general lobby chat goes away and we will be able to see chat that people will be engaging in during worship. Same thing with the seminar, same thing in exhibits. There'll be a generic exhibit chat, and then within specific exhibits, there is another chat specific to that. So it's one of the nice ways that we can kind of filter the chat so it's not between everyone. Yeah, I think those are the big options here in terms of how this program will work. Again, yeah, once we're looking at a couple weeks before convention, kind of sending everybody their login information. We want to make sure we have everything loaded into the system before we start giving logins to people. But we also know it's nice for people to have a little advance notice before Tuesday night when worship starts, that all of a sudden you're getting an email to log into the system. So we will make sure people have access, yeah, in advance of the convention to set up a profile, peruse the schedule of when the seminars are, those kind of things.
You see Amy's question there in the chat, Scott?
My chat disappeared. No. Sorry.
I can read it to you. She says,
oh, yeah. So I'm gonna answer a little bit of Amy's question, and a little bit of Bryce's question. Within FeedLoop, everything will get stored in there. And so the worship services will be live streamed. And then as quickly as we can, we will post the recording back into FeedLoop so that if you don't catch it live on Wednesday morning. For example, Bryce out on the West Coast may not want to get up super early to watch worship with his group, but it will be recorded and then posted as quickly as we can. That's one of the pieces we still need to figure out, is how quickly we can actually get them reloaded. But then, yes, then they will be available on demand after the worship service has been live. So if a group doesn't watch Wednesday morning, they can come back in Wednesday afternoon, or, in translating time zones, Bryce could actually watch it, at 9 o'clock out in Phoenix time zone. But again, the same thing will be with the seminars. They will be available throughout. Shannon, are you going to talk a little bit more about seminars?
I was going to let you cover that.
Okay, sure.
How people do that.
Yeah, the quick idea with our seminars is we are actually going to load them into FeedLoop from the start so that they're available on demand, but we're going to have an airing date of when each of the online seminars the presenter from that seminar will actually be in FeedLoop and able to engage with participants who will have hopefully watched the seminar ahead of time. So we're planning to say, seminar A will be shown at 2 o'clock and the presenter will be there, shortly thereafter to interact with people. It's hard to do the total live seminar feature without totally relying on internet. And as our first endeavor into this, we didn't want to totally trust technology to its fullest. So that's the advantage of recording these ahead of time, loading them in. Your group can decide if you want to watch it ahead of time as a group, or if you're going to encourage individuals to watch different seminars, and then knowing that presenter A will be ready on FeedLoop at 3 o'clock Wednesday afternoon to interact. We've talked to the presenters about coming with some prepared questions to start the conversation for their seminars. But yeah, seminars will be a nice opportunity to then follow up. If you watch it sorry, I'm kind of going into ideas here. If you watch it as a group ahead of time, you may want to have your own group conversation about that seminar, and then invite everyone to come back at the airing time of that seminar to kind of see the chat. The nice thing is the chat stays there. So if you can't actually be there when the presenter is there interacting, the chat will stay. And if you come back that evening, you can still kind of peruse the interaction with the seminar presenter.
I don't know if it's clear that the interaction with the seminar presenter is all on text chat. It's not like it'll be a Zoom. It's just a chat, just back and forth with the presenter. And Andrea is wondering how soon those seminars will be loaded, Scott.
The plan, if everything comes to, the idea is that as soon as you have access to FeedLoop, the seminars will all be on there. We have asked our seminar presenters to have them to us by June 1st. So if we look at like a June 15 or 20 kind of sharing of the login information with everyone, the seminars will all be there, including the schedule of when the presenters will be available. So you can you have a couple weeks there to plan. We could actually, Shannon, we could even put that on the website when the presenters will be available as soon as we have that figured out.
Yeah, we should be able to put that up when we put up other seminar schedules, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of a similar thing. And is there a FeedLoop app?
That is a question I have not actually researched. I think there's a mobile version, but I haven't actually tested it. Because I was assuming nobody's going to want to watch worship on their small little phone screen. But the nice thing is with all of within FeedLoop, everything like the seminars and the worship recording will have a pause and a play feature. So if, in the middle of worship, if your group wants to pause and actually talk about what's happening in the worship service, you can pause the playback, do that, and then restart the playback with seminars and with worship that are loaded into the
Yeah,
platform.
nice. That's, I mean, some of the seminar presenters were wanting to know if they can build that in, like pause now and have this little conversation and then come back when you're done.
Yeah.
So Amy Epp is asking if people will be able to download worship instead of stream it. And I'm wondering if you still have that question, Amy. I think, Scott, that the thought is that people will just stream it even if they're watching it after the fact.
I can say why I'm asking, if that would be helpful.
Yeah, it would. Thanks.
So Bryce and I are actually working together out in Washington. We're having a group of youth meet at our at Camp Camrec. So we are having our own local like retreat convention and using the convention stuff. The internet reliability is not great at that location. So
Right.
like likely we'll be able to stream, but also might run into we know we'd be more assured that the tech would work if we could download things in advance.
Gotcha.
I need to look in on Feedloop, and I don't know that they have a feature to actually download it out of Feedloop. But I will double check on that.
So
Well, Scott, even as you've been talking, I've been kind of researching people as you talk, and I already have a couple ideas that I'd be happy to offer along the way too.
Bryce, you're really faint. I can't hear you.
Sorry
Can
about
you-
that.
chat your comment or question.
Sure. And, yeah, just go on. I'll just drop it in the chat.
To stay on this topic for a minute of you guys doing this at Camrec. Yeah, I have some ideas. We should talk. one of you should call one of us because we can probably help you with that. So okay. Scott, okay, did anyone have any other questions about how Feedloop is gonna work? Gotcha, Amy, thank you. You can ask your questions at any point. Did you have more that you wanted to say about that, Scott? About
No,
how-
I think
There you go.
that's, unless there's more questions later, yeah.
Can we say more about how long they will be available? How long are we planning to leave things up in Feedloop?
The plan is to leave them up for the month following convention. So again, if you don't get all of the seminars watched during that week, they will be available for the week after. I know lots of youth groups like to use pieces of worship to like report back to the congregation. And so like, yeah, the worship videos will be there and available for a week or a month following convention.
Yeah, great. So, the purpose of convention overall is to gather MCUSA for community, worship, and faith formation. And, our hope is always for youth who come to connect to convention that they're having fun, that we're giving them plenty of opportunities for growth in faith, and that they get this opportunity to connect with the larger church. With both the in-person and virtual convention opportunities, we're always thinking, we're always making these plans with youth in mind. And you can now see the list of seminars that they're now posted on the web. Now I'm going to update them one more time. We've actually had a few stragglers still straggling in over the last week or two. So tomorrow and the next day, I'll be working at updating those lists. And by early next week, that whatever's on there should be the final, as final as it gets list. And you can also find on the convention website, you can find the convention speakers, who the band leader is, who the worship leaders are, all that stuff. So there's some things there on the web for you to see details, what's going on. You're still muted.
I'm muted. There
There
we
you
go.
go.
Sorry. As we've thought about this opportunity, as I keep calling it, that COVID has given us to do a hybrid convention, it's been interesting to think about who are the new people we can get involved in convention that would normally have not come to convention, but have had interest in convention. Yeah, wanted to get a little taste of it. And as well as we realize not everyone is comfortable gathering in a big group and coming to Cincinnati. And so this virtual opportunity has been fun to think about. I know multiple different people have talked about, hey, I'm encouraging my cousin to, sign up for the virtual experience because they've always wanted to come to convention, but never wanted to spend the money to come to the city. So I think this is a great opportunity. I'm excited that your groups are looking at how to best engage your group. And yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting trial run and an exciting one as we go through this.
Yeah, so we're hoping, our purpose here tonight is to share ideas about how to make this virtual convention experience fun and meaningful for your youth groups. And we're hoping that you'll walk away with ideas that you think could fit your group. So I think we'll just go ahead and start sharing with one another. What ideas have you already had about how to gather your group and make this a fun experience for them? We're going to start by asking Mariah Hurst and then Kaylee Ortman to share what they've been thinking about, and then open it up for anyone else to talk about what ideas you guys, the rest of you, have. So Mariah, would you get us started?
Sure. So my group is pretty hesitant to do virtual. They're way over Zoom. About half of them have been doing virtual school, and half of them have been doing in-person distanced masked. And so that divides my group right down the middle. But none of them are very excited about that. So I'm trying to do as much in person as possible while still being distanced and masked, because our church is pretty careful. So everybody is pretty mindful. The idea at this point is that we're going to camp possibly at my house. I have a small farm, and that we can then watch the services on the big screen at the church and the fellowship hall, because we have a really good air filtration system in the church building. And so to watch the main services there together, and then I'm working out how to do a service project together. What kind of activities could we do? Do we set up a slip and slide? Can we use somebody's pool? Do we have a campfire multiple nights? One of the big variables that we're dealing with though as well is, normally when I would do a service trip, you're in for the whole time. But that is really hard for people to think of committing to multiple nights right now. So trying to figure out how we balance will I let people come in and out, or do I try and just do a couple of events during that time, and so we still try and have everybody together, because there really is this sense of we lost our feel of being a group together. So that's some of, let me look at my list. We're also thinking about, do we watch a movie together outside? Do we do lawn games? I have a youth leadership team, so young people who are my leadership team, and that's where we're at with the brainstorming yet. But very few of them are willing to commit thus far, just because it's still, for a lot of them, this still feels far away. And to plan this far away in our current climate is hard. So that's some of what we're thinking about.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we can all relate to that. Thank you so much,
We're-
Mariah.
We're also, sorry, just one other thing. We are, because eating meals together is one of the issues. We are talking about seeing if parents can bring food, so that we aren't trying to prep food together, so that maybe parents will sign up for different meals and then we'll spread out someplace and eat. So those are some ideas.
Oh, wow. Mariah, you have so much to think about. What dedication. And Kaylee.
Yeah, those are some really good ideas, Mariah. I can see my wheels turning also as I continue to think and plan. I feel like kids were always there, and the culture, at least where I'm at here in California, is the kids get to decide if they come, and if they don't think it's going to be fun, they just won't come. So I don't have any leverage to say we're either all in or we're not in. So been trying to think of how do we break things up. And so I had asked that question to confirm how long things would be up, because I've been trying to envision
Kaylee. Kaylee, we can hear you most of the time, but this is the second time you froze. Would you be willing to just turn off your camera while you talk to us so that we get more of what you're saying? Thank
you hear me
you. We can hear you.
Okay.
Thank you. So weird, but what we have to do.
Yes. I've been thinking about how to break things up where we were using Wednesday nights for different seminars, and tried to get together for a meal and a worship session when we could, trying to think of it as a hybrid also for what we do, realizing that not everybody is going to be at everything, but also recognizing that, especially for of Mennonites, that this connection to the bigger picture is a big deal. So yeah, like Mariah, trying to envision how much, if we gather together and we try to incorporate food and maybe some other things on the side, and then fold in these convention experiences into that, that are in small enough pieces that they don't feel overwhelmed, or that they wouldn't come to one and then decide they didn't want to come to any more. So it's down the similar lines as Mariah, but also, I guess, a different variation.
Mhm. So we are still missing some of what you're saying, but I think I'm understanding that you're saying that one of your goals is like to plan these things in like short segments that they can jump into as they want to, or as they're able. Is that what I'm hearing, Kaylee? Is that correct?
Yes. I think we have kids that commit to stuff and don't come. We have kids that don't commit at all and randomly show up. Trying to get an idea how many people to register is a bit of but I really believe that any small bit that you can do is valuable and that it's worth it. And so if we can do a whole bunch of small segments over a longer period of time, and make those meaningful, that is also, even if not everybody gets all of it, that is still a valuable experience.
Mhm. That really, that tells me that the longer this is excuse me, the longer time period that this is all available to groups, the more opportunities you have as leaders to plan something that uses, maybe just a seminar or one worship service at a time with them. Okay, yeah, nice.
Hannah, can I add one other thing?
Sure.
I forgot, I didn't have this written down. So I'm also working with, at this point, 2 other churches. We'll see if we add some others in. I'm in Harrisonburg, Virginia, so I'm kind of in one of the like Meno Meccas. Working with a couple other churches to see if we can do a larger joint event. So something like a picture scavenger hunt downtown or something, again, where you can mostly be in your group, but you can interact with the other groups, and maybe we can like go to one of the pavilions and project some of the pictures that they all took later on. But again, that we can stay mostly outside, all masked, doing something with our group, but that we still feel like we're connecting to the larger church. Because I like what you said about when I'm thinking about this, I'm trying to think about how are they connecting with God? How are they connecting with each other? How are they connecting with the larger church? Hopefully they're having fun doing all those things. And so that larger church piece, they're going to struggle with that if it's only on the screen. And so how do I connect them in other ways?
Thank you. Who else would like to talk about some of the plans that you have, or maybe questions you have for others who are here and what they're thinking, or for us?
Can I jump in, Shana or
Please
Shanna?
do. Please do, Amy.
I'm gonna see if I can turn my video on. It's been a little, you all have been a little bit glitchy, so hopefully it will be fine. So I mentioned before that Bryce and I over here in Washington are doing, I can't even remember whose idea it was. There was a parent in my congregation who asked whether our group at least could do, like our little Seattle Mennonite group could do something together with just our group. And could we have like a retreat, or could we do something together? And as I was thinking about like who goes to camp in Washington, it's almost always like we're the biggest congregation in Washington. There aren't very many of us. And usually there might be 1 or 2 others from, for example, Bryce's church in Eastern Washington, or from there's another church in the Seattle area that has a very small youth group. And so we decided to just see if the camp would be willing to host us for a convention, like a retreat. And it would be it sort of morphed into becoming, well, let's just make this what the high school camp will be for the,
wow.
like, that's so, because it's a small camp, we have a lot of flexibility with sort of how we do the programming. And so what we're planning is that the camp will like provide the staffing and like the support structures that it would always have in place for high school camp. And then the convention materials, so worship and seminars, will provide some of the structure for the program content. So we're still trying to the things that we're trying to work out is like, well, how does the technology work? How do we work with the COVID protocols for camp? Because there are some specific things that we have to work around with, like, the distancing and eating outside and no groups bigger than 15 in any given space or whatever. So like, those are the things that we're trying to work around, but I have a lot of hope for the fact that I think it can work. And the benefit is that most of our kids will already know each other really well. They'll know the camp really well. Like, it'll be a familiar setting, and they're already sort of comfortable with that. So we can sort of use that familiar environment to build in some of the convention stuff that if they were on their own, they probably wouldn't engage with. Like, I'm having similar things to some of y'all where like our kids opt in if they want to, and if it doesn't look like it's going to be really exciting, they're just not going to do it. And so at camp, in some ways, we kind of have like the captive audience. The kids that are planning to go to camp will be there, will be able to build some excitement around it. And at least from a few, I got a buy-in from some parents who are really going to like encourage strongly their teens, including my own. I'm also a parent of a convention goer for the first time. So like, I think that has some advantages, and then being able to work together with like Bryce, for example, who's on the program committee this year, and other other church leaders so I don't feel like I'm just in this like by myself as a youth pastor.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah.
Did I say everything I was supposed to say, Bryce?
Yeah, absolutely. And well, an idea that I've had and that we've talked about between Amy and I is for the connectivity to the larger church element. It'd be really neat if there would be some mechanism for remote groups to submit short videos that could be integrated into the worship experience.
Mhm.
So like if it would be, hey, from the Pacific Northwest, 30-second, 1 minute stand up, whatever nutty thing that we want to do, we put it in a Dropbox and you put it on the air or you don't.
Well, I did, yeah, just building on that, I like that on FeedLoop, they have that option to like add photos and to
Right.
like share where you are. I do think that it could go a long way to sort of like building community and connection with other teens and other youth groups when you can see like how other people are engaging with the
Oh,
content, or like to
great.
see what the service project that your kids are doing, for example, Mariah, or like whatever,
Yeah.
like it'd be fun to make those connections.
Definitely. Yeah. Hopefully, as you make your plans, you can be thinking about taking those pictures and uploading them to FeedLoop, you know, when you're together doing stuff with your kids. And that can be before convention too. I don't know how long does that feature stay after convention, Scott? Like, is that something they can continue to do for the whole month or is it really just like during the dates of convention? You're muted. There we go.
I think the photo booth will stay active as long as FeedLoop is active. I don't think it's going to go away. So even, yeah, the next Wednesday night, if your group watches a seminar together, yeah, I think it'd be great to take a photo booth photo of your group and throw it in there, just so other people who come into FeedLoop following convention can see that they're not alone, looking at seminars after convention.
Nice. Yeah, nice. So that's 2 ideas of like, and then I see Andrea from Indianapolis is saying if there are youth groups open to some sort of, if our youth group is open to some sort of online fellowship, are there other youth groups who would intentionally pair? And I would really encourage you to like make those connections yourself or call me to make that connection directly with another congregation. I don't really know how you would do it, but I bet you would think of ways. Other ideas or questions? Thank you so much, Amy and Bryce, for coming and sharing that idea and for all the work that you are putting into that. What a great way to bring convention to the kids in Washington. Who else?
I'll give a little bit of a helpful hint to Amy in talking to actually all of you, as you think about, like, obviously your freshmen and sophomores have not been to convention, so they don't know what convention is about. And the reason this triggered it is I've been talking to a youth pastor here in Goshen who was like, where can I show these new youth what convention was like so that they have an idea, like, even though the virtual isn't going to be the same, is there some place? And I know there are lots of YouTube videos from previous convention participants that have been uploaded. And so if you search for like MenoCon 19 or MenoCon 17, I think there are some good, fun, like youth driven videos on there. yeah, there have been multiple youth that have kind of documented their convention experience and have those available on YouTube to help show your younger participants what convention is like a little bit, even though the virtual will be a little different. It'll still give them a glimpse of worship itself.
So my question for y'all right now is, are we talking about what you came for? What, like, are we talking about what you want to talk about? And give me a thumbs up if yes, thumbs down if there's more. We don't need a thumbs down, but like raise your hand if there's something else we should be talking about that you need to name. What, okay, we got one thumbs up. We want to make sure that you're getting what you came for out of this conversation. So what are the questions that remain in your heads right now? What else do you need to talk about or ask about?
This is Andrea and Kara from Bethesda in Henderson, Nebraska. And good to see you guys. I'm really seeing you guys. I'm like, oh, I want to go to convention. But here we are. So I think, the biggest question hopping on for me was how to imagine like a 4-night experience in their hometown, which for us in Henderson is small. And, like, do we turn it into a retreat space, or do we say, do we have, we're going to have worship at 10 a.m. and we're going to have worship at 7 p.m. And the rest of the day you can work or do what you want to do, but we'll meet you at those times and have like snacks after. And then one night we do a big, like, lock-in at the church. The kids have always wanted to do a lock-in, and I'm kind of like, I don't really want to sleep on the floor of the church. I've always been like, woohoo, hotels at convention. So, but this year I'm like, here we are. So lock in at the church the final night or something, and then Saturday morning doing worship together, so I've been trying to imagine, and I've been on sabbatical and I just got back like a week ago. So I haven't had a lot of time to think about this yet. And Kara and I have not had time to talk. So that's the question I think that we're grappling with, is how to create an experience. And what are the key pieces to put, like what's too much and what's too little, like how to create that, I think is the part that we're going to be grappling with.
Yes. You know what, you're saying this like reminds me of something that came up earlier. I wanted to clarify that the worship services as you remember them from convention are going to be in the evenings, right? It's going to be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday evening, and Saturday morning. And of course, what do they start at? 7 Eastern, 7:30? Scott, I can't remember. 7 or 7:30 Eastern?
7
Eastern time. Okay. And I'm well aware that that's 6 for you, Andrea, and it's 5 and 4. It's 4 in the afternoon on the West Coast. So and also you need to be aware, if you're not already, that those morning worship services are now Bible studies with Safwat Marzouk. So the morning will be a Bible study. And it's going to be like twofold. Safwat will do a Bible study, and we'll have 20 or so minutes of singing from Voices Together. And do I have that right, Scott? Okay, good. So the mornings, Bible study and Voices Together, and that's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So the actual streaming, and will that be live streamed, Scott? Yes, it will. But the worship services, you're thinking of worship like with, like Seth Chrisman and the band, and the worship speakers that we've told you about, and sort of that regular order of worship, that's only in the evenings and Saturday morning. So that's, with that information, and when like you look at the list of virtual seminars, and you realize that you can watch those seminars at any point, you know, throughout, as long as Feed Loop is up and conventions on it, you can watch any of those seminars. So those are the things that, those are like your pieces, those are your program pieces, right? And also then keeping in mind that if you're on the West Coast and you're not going to watch the evening worship service live or the morning one live, you'll need to count on some time in there for the tech people to get the recording uploaded to the internet. And like Scott was saying earlier, we don't know how long that's going to take. So if I were doing this planning, I might, and I was not going to live stream it from like live. I wasn't going to be there at the time it's actually happening. I was going to watch it later. I think I'd plan to watch it hours later, not 1 or 2 hours later. Scott?
I was just going to add another option to kind of go with what Andrea was saying. If you don't want to spread it out over the whole week, one idea might be to like push everything to a weekend kind of thing, where you start with a Friday night event. You maybe watch opening worship Friday night and not when it was live on Tuesday. And then Saturday, you could do like a worship session in the morning, a servant project in the afternoon, a worship session in the evening, and even like a Sunday morning worship viewing again. Because they will be loaded, you can get the 5 main evening worship sessions in a shorter time period. If you, we all know youth don't necessarily like to commit to a whole week thing if they're given the freedom, as Mariah said, to go to work during the day and expected to come back. They may come back, they may not.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
what days, can you say it again? Which days are the actual worship? Like we would like typically go to?
Tuesday, yeah, in the evenings, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then Saturday morning, it will be the final worship service. Good point, Kaylee. Kaylee says having all of the seminars uploaded early gives an opportunity to involve the youth in shaping the schedule of what the group will do. I find that giving youth input and choices like that make them more excited about participating. That makes sense.
And I would say in there, I talked about that I have a youth leadership team. We've been really strategic this year. We basically looked at where are all our cliques, and we picked who would be the leader in each of those cliques, and that became our leadership team this year. And we're quite deliberate about even telling them that that's what we're doing, and saying to them, I need your buy-in because you bring your group. And so I need you to show up because I need your friends to show up. And so as I'm planning convention, I am sitting with them and saying, what will you come to? Okay, if not, tell me why. And so let's make this something. And then I want your buy-in. So I have been a lot more direct and open with them because I can't function in another way, particularly with COVID.
Yeah. Thank you. That's super helpful. What else do you need to be able to prepare for your plans for virtual convention? Do you have some ideas that you think you can begin to develop with your groups? Some nods. How has this been helpful? This conversation, how has it been helpful to you?
I think that sharing ideas is always great. to the pointers, I'd also commend you to helping us build excitement by dropping little pre-program elements along the way. The 1 or 2 minute YouTubes that we can start pushing out there 2 and 3 weeks ahead of time to start building expectation. And that might even be a way that the many location idea could be implemented as well. Of like, hey, this is what's happening in Nebraska. This is happening in Iowa and Virginia and etc. As a kind of pre-gathering ramp up. That by the time it's time to really go live with this thing, people are like, yeah, I want to see what this is.
Thank you, Bryce. Others, what's been helpful about this, or what questions remain? Okay, from Lauren, I'm glad to know things will be up in advance to see what we want to highlight. Also, our group is thinking that anything we can do in person as illustration or addition to speakers would enhance the in-person viewing. For example, if we are talking about space, is there a live demo of fitting balls into a jar to do in person? You've lost me, Lauren. I'm sorry. Scott.
Sure. No, I
Help me.
think Lauren's asking, like, if we're going to be doing something in Cincinnati in the worship hall, is there a way to make sure we can like engage the virtual audience in a similar activity? And yes, I think we're going to need to be intentional that, like, yeah, if a particular worship speaker is planning whatever it is, yeah, we may want, it will be good for us to give you all a heads up that, like, hey, today maybe grab a loaf of bread and bring it as you gather for the worship session, or get a couple plates and spoons and cups because, yeah, something will happen in worship that it will be valuable to have those things.
I just was thinking we should also do things like get white beach volleyballs and like get them each to design them, and then you can still bat them around at each other. I mean, like, what are some of the things that are like classic convention worship? Or yeah, like, I'm allergic to latex, so we can't like bat balloons around in my church. They like spend all of worship at convention protecting me from balloons. But but how could you do something where you personalize it, but still hold on to some of that convention vibe? Yeah, and that would be helpful if there are particular like tangible things that are going to happen in worship that we know about that beforehand. That'd be super helpful.
I want to encourage you to be sure that you're following the convention. No, MCUSA on Facebook. I don't think that we have a separate convention page. It's follow Mennonite Church USA page on Facebook. So that, because I think that would be the natural place for us to put like a YouTube video clip, or something like, or to share ideas in that space.
Are those same kinds of things shared in other ways for those of us who just try to stay away from Facebook?
You mean like people like me? I just get on Facebook and look at MCU Mennonite Church USA. Yeah.
Well, and I'm thinking too, like the young people in my youth group, if I wanted to share a video with them, I would text it to them directly, or some of them might see something on Instagram. But Is this stuff that's going on Facebook the same stuff that's coming through in like newsletters and that's being posted in other social media? Or is there different content?
Who can answer that? Scott or Cami? Caleb?
It's pretty much the same. Usually everything that we post on social media is going into the Piecemeal newsletter. And we do have we have a Facebook page, but we also have an Instagram account and a Twitter account. And the YouTube channel is also a great place to find those videos.
Yeah, I'd really encourage you, Amy. Like, I think in my mind, I'm thinking that the youth pastor or the youth sponsor is the one checking MCUSA Facebook and then sending the YouTube URL, texting that to the kids. You know, like, I don't really expect the kids to be looking at the Facebook page. I don't know. Yeah.
It is a helpful tip to actually,
Yeah.
the one tip I found really helpful was to hear that, hey, check out like other kids' videos from previous years. I think that is something that, like, if I could send a little like 2-minute clip from worship or something or show it to my daughter and say, like, look at this, like, isn't this something that you want to participate in? Just to give an idea of what it is we're talking about.
Great. Thank you.
I think I struggle a little bit with simultaneously wanting to hype it up so people want to come, and also trying to moderate expectations so people don't show up and say, you said this was going to be like convention and it's not like convention. You know, trying not to compete against what their in-person experience is. So I'm my youth.
It's totally fair. I mean, and our hearts go out to you, you know, in this situation. It's weird and it's not easy, but like, I'm so encouraged by all of you. And you know, you're in here working on it. You're in here really wanting to make an experience for your youth. And that's super.
Well, and can we also say the significance of what you guys are doing to provide it? This is like, convention is a huge load for you guys, and this is like planning 2 conventions. So thank you for the creativity, and I think I messaged you, Scott. You look so happy, so I'm so glad. And if you're faking it, you're doing a great job.
That's the great thing about Scott, is that he is not faking it.
I know. It's awesome. Your energy makes me happy. Thank you.
Yes. Oh, well, we're just really excited and grateful for all of you that joined us here. Any last questions or comments before we close our time?
I was just going to say to Kaylee's comment there, I feel like I'm hyping up more of the, like, them getting to spend time together, because that's the thing they miss. And so I feel bad that I'm not hyping up convention, but just the, like, you get to spend time with other people face to face. That's actually what I'm trying to sell. Because a bunch of them, like, the convention thing is just what I'm going to insert. It's the, like, they need the relational at this point.
Yeah, that's a great word. Thank you, Mariah. Well, we again, we're really excited to see you all here. We're really grateful that you gathered here. Scott, would you like to say anything before we close?
Not other than as you have more ideas or more suggestions for us that as ways to help make it a better experience for you, let us know. Bryce sent me a private message that he's got a question about ways to approach it from his perspective. So it may be a great idea that we can share with the rest of you if it ends up being, possible and workable.
Yeah, you can call or email us. Our contact information, I don't think, is hard to find on the website. And yeah, we definitely want to be in conversation with you to help you do what you're doing, give you the info you need to make a good virtual experience for your kids. So we just wish you every blessing. We're very grateful for you. May God continue to inspire you and give you energy and ideas, and also inspire your kids to participate. So blessings to all of you.